What we want to do now is bring in Fox Weather hurricane specialist Bryan Norcross. Bryan, that 8 a.m. Eastern advisory, it is out, no changes, but I think still very stunning to see such a massive hurricane.
So big physically.
Just what, about 200 miles away from Cape Hatteras at this point.
Yeah, that's what's amazing is it is so close. And I want to echo what Mike said. When I got up this morning and looked at the data and looked what was happening, I felt really good that the worst of this is going to be about 2 inches offshore. I mean, it looks like we're going to get by here with some issues up and down the coast. When you get big breakers coming in, some places are still vulnerable, but places that are decently protected are not going to have a big problem from this storm. Let's look at where we are right now. We have a 105-mile-an-hour hurricane moving north-northeast. So the fact that it's got an easterly component to it, that means it's moving offshore, and the pressure is slowly coming up. So it's starting in the weakening stage. As it weakens, it's still going to expand. So as it gets farther north, it's still going to be a bigger hurricane. So there's still going to be big effects, especially danger along the beaches. But boy, this is going to be a right at the beaches thing. Here's the core of it. It still has a decent core, and then it has these big arms that stick out here, and there's strong wind in those arms. But look, as Mike said, dry air on the west side, only a few clouds there rotating in. All right, let's take a look at that radar. This is what Mike was showing you, and you see there are a few, but these are all light showers here in the dry air. Here's the core right out there. If you're looking on your phone, that's probably an inch out there. If you're looking on your TV, it might be 3 or 4 inches. But anyway, it's not far offshore. That the core of this really strong storm and huge storm is there, and then the big part of the hurricane extends over toward the Bermuda side, but also it's really in between North Carolina and Bermuda. All right, here are the current winds, and as Mike was talking about, there's a buoy offshore up to almost 50 miles an hour. Here you see, let me go back there because I wanted to show that more closely there. You see here at Hatteras, Cape Hatteras. Now, the Cape Hatteras, as I'm going to show you with the water, that's on the bay side. So the biggest effects we're seeing at the moment are actually on the bay side. And here you see up at Oregon Inlet, this is the north end of Hatteras Island. So by this time, the land is going like this. So since the wind is coming in from the northeast like that, that's where they're getting the strong winds. You see up over tropical storm force there in the gusts. Okay, now let's take a look at the water. This is how high the water is above the normal high tide level. And you see all these things up here at Duck. This is up near Kitty Hawk where Mike is there, 1.5 feet above normal, no big deal. Hatteras, 2.5 feet above the normal high tide, but that's on the bay side. So the Hatteras observation is here in the bay. So the wind is coming like this, pushing water down Pamlico Bay, and it's piling up there. So that's where they're going to have the biggest flooding, looks like. And when we move north into Virginia, Money Point here, this is actually in Norfolk, down Norfolk, Portsmouth. So the water is coming down Chesapeake Bay and being pushed in there. But all the observations around there have it about 2 feet above normal in the Chesapeake so far. So it's going to flood low-lying areas, but this is not a big deal up at Lewis. Only a foot. You see Ocean City, only a little over a foot. So all good news up and down the coast so far. And here's even maybe the better news. The high tides have already happened, where now the tide is now going out. So that elevation of possible above high tide is all going to come down because the base of the normal tide is retreating. All right, so what's going to happen? Oh, there's the forecast. By the way, they had up to 4 feet here. But, I mean, it's a matter of inches in terms of the winds. Look like the strongest winds are right there. That would have pushed it just that extra foot or two higher. It's kind of crazy. And still, we may get a couple feet up here, up to 3 feet above high tide. All depends on the timing, of course, when that biggest surge comes in. All right, let's take a look at the forecast, and you see good news here, diminishing winds, but the main thing is the system moves quickly away. But this evening, we're still going to have to deal with it. Here we are now. There's where the strongest winds are, boy, and the strongest push from this is if it's really close. Looking up this evening, all right, it's in here now, and let's look at those tides. So this Thursday evening, this is nominally 8 p.m. this evening, and the tides up there are going to be in that time period about 7 p.m. So the highest water from Montauk down, that's the end of Long Island, down to Sandy Hook in New Jersey, Atlantic City, and Ocean City, Maryland. You see, they're all in that time period when, if there's going to be flooding, that's when it's going to happen. So, but the good news is that it seems like this thing is oriented and just offshore, just enough that we're not getting the worst of it right along the coast. So close, which is wonderful. So anyway, looking good, guys.
Yeah, we were just talking about how we feel like we're in Atlantic City and we need to leave the roulette table. We did that good. We just need to walk away,
Yes.
be happy with what we got, and move on.
Yeah, but the reality is what, Bryan? We have 80% of the season to go. And to get this lucky, I don't think any of us would have placed bets, at least
On that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that some places aren't going to have beach erosion and some issues.
Oh,
it's going to happen.
Yeah, but when you compare it to what it
compared
could
to
be,
what was possible,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
exactly.
imagine if
Yeah.
this was going to be a landfalling system, with it being so big, this could have been a Hurricane Ike. You think about how large it is physically.
Right.
Sometimes the categories of storms can be extremely deceiving with large storms. So, you know, despite the fact
Right.
that, yes, we have some
Exactly.
issues to hop through, I'd rather hop through the issues that we have than trudge through the reality of what it could have been.
Yeah, so we'll
Totally.
we'll continue to see, Bryan, what the season brings for us. But in the meantime, just continuing to watch at least coastal areas for impacts of Erin. Fox Weather Hurricane Specialist Bryan Norcross joining us. Thank you.